saying our yearly report. It's good. It's a good thing.
Our Zoom crowd.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Tegan Moline and I serve on the Fellowship Board of Directors. And I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors. If you would like more information about the Fellowship, please visit the welcome table in the fireside room or sign our virtual guest book, which might not be active because I hear the website's down. So maybe try back in a couple of days. It's uufames.org/guestbook. And our website issues are being worked on. We're in a moment of transition, so be patient, please. So whether you're joining us from home or here in Fellowship Hall, we invite you to stay after service for Coffee Fellowship, where you can introduce yourself and join in conversation with kindred spirits. It is the time of harvest, and if anyone has a taste for sweet corn and needs a source, I hear that Sam Osei has a fair bit of sweet corn that he might need help with, and it tastes very good. I was able to sample some last night. It's excellent. So Sam says if you need sweet corn, let him know, and he will bring some for you. Okay? It's not every day you get door-to-door sweet corn service. On behalf of this caring, nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you to this sacred space. Here we invite you to an experience of transformation, hope, and renewal and connections, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. I'm Jan Cook, and our opening reading today is a luscious poem called Melon Time by my friend Donald Engstrom Rees. Shining dreams of deliciousness dwell in the sweet flesh of melon time, welcoming us into the radiant lands of lush healing. These hostesses of enough and plenty open all of our senses, holding us in their arms of beauty, feeding us with the aromatic essence of melon joy. Yes, the melons still thrive, nurturing us with their magical presence, blessing us with their ambrosial lives, celebrating the wonder that is life. Let us be grateful. Let us breathe in deeply, recalling our deep kinship with all born to Eartha. A blessed first harvest to one and all.
Our chalice lighting today comes from Ellen Hamilton. In faith, together, we light this small scrap of light, symbol of Grandfather Sun's enormous power, whose energy burns so brightly in these days of deep summer, catapulting the leaves and vines, vegetables, flowers, and fruits to astonishing size, lengths, and heights, spilling over the tops of cages, walls, and trellises, delighting and nourishing all beings. We bask in the warmth and heat of these days, with lightened hearts and quickened senses, in gratitude and in faith. Will you please rise in body or spirit for hymn number 1067 in the Teal hymnal, Mother Earth, Beloved Garden. Hello, my name is Christopher, and this is A Time for All Ages. Today, I'm going to read to you a chapter from the book Aisha's Moonlit Walk, Stories and Celebrations for the Pagan Year. It was written by Anika Stafford and published on Skinner House Books, which is the publishing company of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Today I'm going to read to you the chapter, The Perfect Peace Harvest, for Lammas, the holiday that we are celebrating today. Every year on Lammas, we clamor our way to City Hall with posters and placards to picket for peace. Every year since I was a baby, we have a big rally. Speakers and singers, dancers and screamers, we all gathered to say that we want peace now. Peace now. Lammas is a time to raise your voice, even when it's hard. It's a time to say no to war and to anything else that hurts anyone, anywhere in the world. Most of the people at the rally aren't pagans, but they all yell, peace now, which is as much of a Lammas celebration as anything I can think of. We carry drums to bang and cymbals to clang. Since I've been coming here all my life, it's not too hard to get ready to clang and bang. I come ready to make some noise. On Lammas, you've got to stomp your dancing feet. On Lammas, you've got to raise your voice and speak. Lammas is the harvest. We've got to harvest peace. This year, there are at least 100 people, maybe more. There are people with canes, people with crowns, people draped in crazy costumes yelling, "Peace now, peace now." There are people with puppets taller than the treetops, and people holding signs that say, "No war." Standing in the back are people watching in silence until we all yell, "Peace now, peace now." Then everyone yells together. My family and I meet people under a banner that says Pagans for Peace. There are pagans we know who greet us with big, happy hugs, and pagans we don't know, but we all yell, "Peace now, peace now" for Lammas. On Lammas, you've got to stomp your dancing feet. On Lammas, you've got to raise your voice and speak. Lammas is the harvest. We've got to harvest peace. There are babies snug in their snuggly carriers, and toddlers toddling on the grass. They yell, "East now, east now," which is definitely close enough to peace now for any of us. That's how you used to say it when you were little, my dad tells me. My brother Eli yells and sings, and I swing him up onto my shoulders. There is a stage at the front of the rally with microphones and banners. Huge flags with doves and peace signs wave in the August wind. There are old women in crazy hats who step up and sing for peace. But there are no kids up there. There are teenagers in silly skirts and socks who step up and cheer and chant for peace. But there are no kids. Everyone speaks out, but there are no kids at the microphones. "This is ridiculous," I burst out to my mom. "I have been coming here my whole entire life, and I've never seen a single kid on that stage." "Aisha," my mom says, "what a great idea. Run up and tell them you want to speak. Hurry." I freeze. I hadn't met me, just some kid. My heart thuds in my chest. I just met someone, anyone else. I look at the crowd, 100 people, maybe more. I am 10 years old. I do not want to speak in front of all of them. But I have been coming here for 10 years, and for 10 years I've chanted the same words. On Lammas, you've got to stomp your dancing feet. On Lammas, you've got to raise your voice and speak. Lammas is the harvest. We've got to harvest peace. My stomach is fluttery. My legs are jittery. This feels nothing like peace, but I've got to do it. I know I do. So I slowly lift my brother off of my shoulders and put him on the ground. "I'm going to go up," I tell my mom, and she grins her biggest grin. "I'm going to go up," I exclaim loudly to everyone around us under the Pagans for Peace banner. Our friend Alex comes over to me. "Hooray," he yells. He picks me up in a big bear hug and swings me around. "Good for you," our friends cheer. Now I have to do it. I run all the way up to the stage before I can lose my nerve and run back. There are organizers standing next to it. "I am here to speak," I tell the grown-ups by the stage. One man looks at me. "There isn't enough time," he says. I want to run back, but I don't. Instead, I take a deep breath and try again. "There are never any kids speaking," I tell him. Then I turned to the other organizers. What if I only say just 4 quick things? The organizers look at each other and shrug. Okay, they say, just 4 quick things. I stand at the microphone with my fluttery stomach and jittery legs. I have been coming here since I was a baby, but raising my voice in front of the whole crowd is one of the hardest things I've ever done. Even though I don't feel the littlest bit of peace, I take a deep breath and begin. War doesn't help anything, I say. It doesn't give us clean water. Everyone yells back, no. It doesn't give us land to grow our food, I say. And again the crowd yells, no. It doesn't let kids grow up healthy, I call out. No, 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 everyone yells. We all need the earth and the water, and we all need each other. I raise my voice loudly into the microphone. So, I finish, what do we want? And the crowd goes wild, yelling, peace now, peace now, peace now. I look down and see that our Pagans for Peace group is starting a big, snaking, twisting spiral dance through the crowd. I run down and grab hands with them as more and more people join us, taking each other's hands and singing. We sing and smile, dancing our way through the crowd and around the buildings. Our song fills me with bouncy gleefulness. With my legs strong and sturdy again, I imagine our song is like water splashing us. On Lammas, you've got to stomp your dancing feet. On Lammas, you've got to raise your voice and speak. Lammas is the harvest. We've got to harvest peace. I have come here every Lammas since I was a baby, but speaking in front of the whole entire crowd is the most perfect peace harvest I've ever made. And that's our story for today. Thank you for joining me for A Time for All Ages. Hello, my name is Christopher, and this is A Time
Hello, everybody. This is Matt Ferris coming to you again from Swannanoa, North Carolina. And one of the things that I love about pagan holidays is that they tend to celebrate the extraordinary in the ordinary. And so for today, I found a really cool litany of grains for Lunasa and Lammas. And it's in a book that I really recommend called In Nature's Honor. Whoops, there we go. Myths and Rituals Celebrating the Earth by Patricia Montley. And the litany of grains goes like this. This is just a little bit adapted for us today. Our delight in the taste of seasonal flavors is matched only by our joy in the first fruits of the grain harvest. Let's celebrate the many forms of grain and the richness they bring to our lives. Your response, if you are willing and able, to the litany will be, blessed be the bread of the earth. So I'll give you an example of bread loosely made from grain, and then your response will be, blessed be the bread of the earth. Let us rejoice in wheat and corn, oats and barley, rye and rice. Blessed be the bread of the earth. In whole wheat, cracked wheat, sourdough, and pumpernickel.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In French bread, Italian garlic bread, Russian black bread, Irish soda bread, Indian pita bread.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In corn pone, corn chips, corn pudding, corn flakes, tacos, tortillas, and popcorn.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In raisin bread and bagels, muffins and crumpets, scones and brioche and croissants.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In pancakes and waffles, blintzes and crepes.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In donuts and buns, crullers and beignets and Danish pastry.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In challah and matzah, biscuits, wonton and dumplings.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In oatmeal, bran flakes, wheat flakes, and grits.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In breadsticks, rolls, and granola bars.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In rice cakes, rice pudding, fried rice, and sushi.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In saltines, graham crackers, animal crackers, and pretzels.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In spaghetti, macaroni, lasagna, fettuccine, ravioli, and pizza.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In layer cakes, loaf cakes, shortcake, pound cake, coffee cake, cupcakes, and jelly roll.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
In bread pudding, cookies, pies and tarts, brownies, biscotti, and baklava.
Blessed be the bread of the earth.
And that, beloved community, is how you celebrate the extraordinary in the ordinary. Happy Lunasa and Lammas. See you later.
Now that I'm hungry, Matt. Well, ours, hungry or not, is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning, a sharing community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. It is a tradition in our community to take this moment to share our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. It is a time of sharing. If you like, you may come forward to the microphone, state your name, share a joy, sorrow, or challenge, and Liz will light a milestone candle for you. Once all who wish to do so have come forward here to the microphone, we will transition to our online Zoom community for milestones they may offer. Our last candle then is lit for those milestones that have been left unsaid, those we hold gently in our hearts. May we remember those who have spoken, those they have named, and those we hold in silence in our hearts. Let us share a moment of silence together. It is good to be together.
Our reading does not come from Circle Round. Instead, it comes from Llewellyn's Sabbath Essentials book on Lughnasadh, which is the same as Lammas. Like the promise of a rainbow, our first harvest of the season reassures us that if all continues to go well, we can expect a more wholesome treasures down the road that will sustain us throughout the winter. What does this mean in your own life? It's not like you can't just run down to the store and pick up some fruits and vegetables whenever you need them. So what's the point in celebrating a harvest your own life doesn't utterly depend on? You probably already spot the fallacy in that line of thinking. Our lives do depend on that harvest, every bit as much as our agriculturally minded ancestors depended on it. We know the foodstuffs don't just magically appear at the market, of course, but if we're not personally tilling the land, planting the seeds, and tending to the crops day in and day out until harvest time, it's very easy to push that fact to the back of our minds. Considering what would happen to us if the harvest did fail and the food didn't make it to the market can serve as a solid reminder of how much we really do depend on the earth to sustain us. Our modern lives are designed to make us feel as independent from our natural environment as possible, but that's only an illusion. The earth is our mother. Even if we're wearing three-piece suits, driving fancy cars, and basking in carpeted, air-conditioned luxury, we are needy children, totally dependent on the earth to provide us with food, water, shelter, and clothing. Where would you be if an asteroid crashed into our planet? What would happen to you if every plant on Earth withered and died? It would be horrible, right? Luckily, that hasn't happened, and this luck is the joy of Lughnasadh. It's the gratitude we feel for life, the thankfulness we express for our continued existence. It's the delight of seeing the first signs of effort beginning to pay off. It's the beginning of the culmination of summertime's toil and what the earth has sowed. What you personally have sowed is now in the early stages of being reaped. Thank you.
We will now give and receive the offering. Please know that this morning, half of the non-pledge offering will be donated to Prairie Flower Children's Center. Prairie Flower has offered nature-based, child-led preschool and after-school programming in Ames for over 25 years. Their mission is to strengthen connections to community and the natural world while nurturing the innate capacities for imagination and wonder, and instilling a sense of unconditional belonging. The other half of the offering will support programs here in our fellowship that make this community a community of transformation. We'll pass the basket here in Fellowship Hall, but for those at home, you can visit uufames.org/give to make your contribution today. Hopefully the website will be back up soon, so you can do that. Keep trying. If you are visiting today, please know that your presence here is gift enough. Well, if I may borrow the words of our interim minister, Reverend A.J. Galazin, good morning, Central Iowa and beyond. It's too good not to steal, right? My name is Christopher W. Chase, and I currently serve in the small group ministry Persephone's Children and on the ministerial search committee for this congregation. My pronouns are he and his. According to the scholar Ronald Hutton, the name of this week's autumn festival, Lammas, derives from the Anglo-Saxon 10th century term loaf mass, whereby consecrated bread was baked from the first harvest of cereal grains. Popular magic held that crumbling the corners of this bread around the local granary barn would best prepare it to hold the rest of that year's harvest. At the same time, this cross-quarter day, especially in Scotland, most likely meant the end of the hay harvest, when stock once again had access to grazing meadows. It was an important date for rent payment, local elections, and celebratory fairs throughout the British Middle Ages. We know little about it before the 7th century, though clearly it was important as both a social gathering and an indigenous religious gathering. As in 673, it became established as the date of the annual synod or gathering for Christians in England. This temperate festival climate time is elsewhere known as Lunasa, already as Liz talked about. That name comes from sources at least as old as Lammas in medieval Irish literature. Lu, a king and godling, is a patron of human skill, especially of heroic skill. His name is associated with the first fruits of harvest festival held on the tops of hills in the Irish countryside, as well as beside various holy wells. Scholar Mark Williams traces his name to an old Irish word meaning oath, a divinity of contracts, perhaps. While scholars are certain that Lu and other divinities in the ancient Irish sagas come from indigenous divinities, there is little more we can say with certainty about them at this time. We know that agriculture and fertility and ripening were of major concern before that time, as they have always been. And this harvesting continued even as the popular deities changed in Scotland, for example. A popular Catholic festival on Scottish islands in the 1700s finds family members picking the first of the ripened corn and circling clockwise, or as they called it, sunwise, around the home fire and around the perimeter of their farms, singing a devotional song to Mary, the mother of Jesus, asking for her assistance and guardianship. Those Catholic families harvested Mary's protective spirit. Our chalice lighting today, Faith in Summer, celebrates Grandfather Sun's enormous power through the symbol of the lighted chalice. Leaves, vines, vegetables, flowers, and fruits pulse forth, and we are drawn to both gratitude for this vivification and to awe and respect for its role in the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. We celebrate the cosmic sources that come together to generate new life. Our offertory music, Corn Rigs, was written around the same time as the Scottish ceremony I mentioned. It celebrates the love of a young couple in the rows of ripened corn and barley upon a full moon Lammas night. We harvest this celebratory and loving spirit. Melon Time by Donald Engstrom Rees revels in the power and variety of fruits and the pleasures they bring. We celebrate the results produced by cosmic forces that sustain the lives of many beings, including ours. We harvest this nurturing spirit. The Litany of Grains, offered by Matthew Ferris, concentrates on those cereals that produce immense variety, not simply through their own composition, but just as importantly, that give rise through preparation and permutation in various cultures around the world: Irish, Italian, Chinese, Japanese, French, Russian, and Indian. In breads, broadly speaking, of prelude, and in breads of dessert. To take such a seemingly singular universal topic while folding, kneading, stretching, and rolling it along various national cuisines, times of consumption, and styles of preparation gives us a lesson about accepting our own commonality while encouraging us all to grow into our own spiritual directionalities in our congregation. We can connect to our common metaphysical sources, yet also develop our own pancakes, waffles, blintzes, and crepes. Our Time for All Ages featured a story from Aisha's Moonlit Walk. Anika Stafford's book contains stories about how young Aisha and her family, practicing pagans, celebrate the different parts of the ritual year. In describing her own Lammas story, Stafford says this story honors, quote, our responsibility to work for the kinds of things we would like to see harvested in the world. Lammas honors the Mother Goddess, who helps us do what we need to do when it is difficult or scary. Lammas also honors the sun god, Lu, who helps us use our skills and visions to work for the freedom of everyone. Aisha learns to speak up for what she believes in, even though she is nervous, end quote. Honoring our power and agency in working for peace and freedom is another kind of gratefulness, another kind of respect, another kind of harvest. Aisha takes responsibility to be active in shaping the kind of world she and her community wants. She demonstrates that living peace is not merely stagnant passivity, but an active, forceful quality of engaged love with and for the world. Aisha teaches us all to harvest our courage to speak out against violence and injustice. In pledging for peace, she pushes for the inherent worth and dignity of all persons, as well as justice and equity and compassion in human relations. We harvest that courageous spirit. Our opening hymn, Mother Earth, Beloved Garden, celebrates the separate yet interdependent forces of earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Each is identified in essence, yet also identified as plurality in form and time, both in the external geographies outside us and those internal geographies within us. No one form or element predominates. Their interdependence must make room for these different essences, times, and forms. There is a lesson in an ancient medieval Irish saga about this. The heroic and meta-talented King Lu, for whom Lunasa is named, faces off with a powerful mortal enemy who begs Lu to spare his life. In return, this villain, named Bress, promises that the local farmers will reap a harvest every quarter or even every week rather than season, and that they will be granted cows that give continuous milk. While this bounty may sound like agricultural paradise, it is flatly rejected in the saga as perverse. One scholar in particular calls it a, quote, grotesque and exhausting distortion of the natural seasons, end quote. And so moderation, proportion, and balance are also a lesson of Lammas. We celebrate and harvest the power, like Aisha, to say no to the things that would distort us. There must be time to thankfully receive the first grain, infuse it with the powers of water, grinding, yeast, and heat, and thus consecrate the sacred loaf, both outside us and within. I close by once again shamelessly borrowing the words of our interim minister, Reverend A.J. Galazin. Your mission this Lammas week, should you choose to accept it, is to consider what you should harvest at this point in our year. What will you find nurturing, loving, courageous, protective, fulfilling, peaceful, and productive? What will you harvest and take with you? Thank you. Please join us in reciting the closing words today. Spirit of the East, be with us always. Spirit of the South, be with us always. Spirit of the West, be with us always. Spirit of the North, be with us always. Blessed be. Will you please rise in body or spirit as you wish for our closing hymn, The Earth is Our Mother, 1073. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. The earth is our mother, she will take care of us. The earth is our mother, she will take care of us. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. The sky is our father, we will take care of him. The sky is our father, we will take care of him. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. The sea is our sister, we will take care of her. The sea is our sister, we will take care of her. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. The forest is our brother, we will take care of him. The forest is our brother, we will take care of him. Younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, young. Thank you very much for joining us today, both in Fellowship Hall and online. And we hope you have a wonderful Lammas Day and Lammas Week. Thank you.